Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You know me, I love me some good old-fashioned ingenuity. Give me a problem to solve, some duct tape, and a couple of hours in the workshop and I'm in paradise. But today, we're diving into the weird world of inventions, the ones that make you scratch your head and say, what were they thinking? Some were brilliant, some were busts, and some were just plain bizarre. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to take a wild ride through the history of the most unusual, the most outlandish, the most, what the heck were they thinking? Inventions ever conceived? Let's get this show on the road. Here are the most unusual and strange inventions that will surprise you. Okay folks, first up we're stepping back in time to the 1930s, the era of jazz, flapper dresses, and apparently, baby cages. Now before you get any ideas, this wasn't some cruel contraption. It was actually marketed as a way to give city-dwelling babies a dose of that sweet, sweet sunshine and fresh air. Picture this. You're living in a cramped London apartment. The streets below are bustling with traffic, and your little one needs some fresh air. What do? Well, if you're a believer in the baby cage, you simply pop your precious bundle into this wire contraption and hang it out the window. Yeah, you heard me right. Out the window. These cages were designed to be securely fastened to the building, allowing parents to lower their babies down to street level, all while safely contained within their metal mesh playpen. Now I know what you're thinking. Adam, that sounds absolutely bonkers, and you know what? You're not wrong, it's a concept that definitely wouldn't fly today. But back then, it was seen as a novel solution to the challenges of urban living. Think about it, limited access to parks, concerns about street-level pollution and germs. The baby cage was all about giving those kiddos a chance to soak up some rays and breathe in some, hopefully, cleaner air. Of course, looking back, it's easy to see the potential hazards. Needless to say, the baby cage never really caught on. Alright folks, get ready to meet the Euphonia, an invention straight out of a Victorian fever dream. Picture this. It's the 1800s, and the world is captivated by all things automated. We're talking clockwork contraptions, steam-powered engines, and the dawn of electricity. In the midst of this technological frenzy, someone got the bright idea to create a machine that could speak. Enter the Euphonia, a marvel of 19th century engineering and let's be honest, a little bit creepy. This mechanical marvel was designed to mimic the human voice, not through recordings like Edison's phonograph, but by actually recreating the physical act of speech. Think of it like a mechanical mouth and throat, complete with bellows, levers, and resonating chambers. The inventor, a German gentleman named Joseph Faber, meticulously studied the anatomy of human speech, mapping out the precise movements of our tongues, lips, and vocal cords. He then translated these movements into a complex system of gears, valves, and air pressure, all controlled by a keyboard. Yes, you read that right, a keyboard. Imagine typing out a sentence and having this mechanical mouth bellow it back at you in a surprisingly lifelike voice. The Euphonia was a sensation in its day, touring Europe and America, wowing audiences with its ability to recite poetry, sing opera, and even whisper sweet nothings. Alright folks, buckle up because this next one is a real head-scratcher. We're talking about the Radium Beauty Mask, a product so mind-bogglingly misguided, it's hard to believe it ever existed. But trust me, it did. Now let's set the stage. It's the 1940s, the world is obsessed with youth and beauty, and radium, that mysterious glow-in-the-dark element, is all the rage. People were putting it in everything from toothpaste to chocolate, convinced it held the key to a longer, healthier life. So, naturally, someone had the bright idea to slap some radium on people's faces, right? Enter the Radium Beauty Mask, a terrifying testament to the blind faith people placed in this miracle element. These masks, often made of rubber or cloth, were lined with radium-laced pads that supposedly banished wrinkles, tightened skin, and left you with a youthful glow. And I mean glow quite literally because, you know, radiation. Women would proudly wear these masks, blissfully unaware that they were essentially strapping a radioactive time bomb to their faces. Thankfully, the dangers of radium eventually came to light, and these radioactive beauty treatments went the way of the dodo. Alright, let's talk hair. Specifically the lengths people went to in the past to achieve the perfect do. We're talking about the portable hairdryer, a contraption that makes today's sleek blow dryers look like marvels of miniaturization. Picture this. It's the Roaring Twenties, flapper dresses are all the rage, and bobbed hair is the epitome of chic. But achieving that perfectly coiffed look wasn't as simple as plugging in a hairdryer and giving your locks a quick blast. Oh no, my friends, back then drying your hair was a serious undertaking, often involving a trip to the salon or a whole lot of patience and a hand-cranked fan. But for those who craved convenience, there was the portable hairdryer, a device that was anything but portable by today's standards. Imagine a metal dome, almost like a miniature astronaut helmet, attached to a hose that was, in turn, connected to a bulky heating unit. It was noisy, it was cumbersome, and it probably took a good hour or two to dry your hair, but hey, at least you were the most stylish gal at the speakeasy, right? Chapter 5. The Anti-Tramp Nightingale. Sleep tight, don't let the nightingale bite. Okay folks, get ready for this one because it's a real doozy. We're talking about the Anti-Tramp Nightingale, an invention so bizarre, it sounds like it came straight out of a Monty Python sketch. Now before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's address the elephant in the room, the name. Back in the day, tramp was a derogatory term for someone who was homeless or transient. And the nightingale part, well, that's where things get really interesting. You see, the Anti-Tramp Nightingale wasn't some kind of bird-themed security system. It was actually a device designed to prevent people from sleeping on park benches. Yep, you heard me right. Imagine this. It's the 1930s, the Great Depression is in full swing, and cities are struggling to cope with an increase in homelessness. Enter the Anti-Tramp Nightingale, a series of metal bars installed along the contours of park benches, making it impossible to lie down comfortably. The nightingale part. Well, some folks reckon the bars were designed to make a noise when someone tried to rest against them, like a shrill bird song, hence the name. Thankfully, the Anti-Tramp Nightingale eventually went the way of the dodo, replaced by more compassionate and effective solutions. Chapter 6. The Dog Umbrella. Fashion faux pas or Fido's best friend. Alright folks, let's talk about man's best friend and the lengths we go to keep them happy, dry, and well, looking stylish. That's right, we're talking about the dog umbrella, an invention that's equal parts practical and, let's be honest, hilarious to look at. Now any dog owner will tell you that walkies don't stop just because the heavens open, but for some pampered pooches, getting their precious paws wet is simply out of the question. Enter the dog umbrella, a godsend for fashion-conscious canines and their devoted humans. Imagine this, it's a dreary afternoon, the rain is coming down sideways, and your furry friend is giving you those "we are not going out in that" eyes. But fear not, because you've got the secret weapon, the dog umbrella. This ingenious contraption is basically a regular umbrella with a twist. Instead of a straight handle, it's got a curved or extendable arm that attaches to your dog's collar, ensuring their furry little body stays dry and comfortable, no matter how torrential the downpour. There's something inherently comical about seeing a dog walking down the street with its own personal umbrella. Chapter 7. The Spherical House, the Future of Living or Just Plain Round. Okay folks, get ready to step into a world of futuristic architecture and unconventional living spaces. We're talking about the Spherical House, a concept that captured the imagination of mid-century dreamers but ultimately failed to take off. Now picture this. It's the 1950s, the space race is in full swing, and the future seems limitless. People are dreaming of jetpacks, flying cars, and homes that look like they belong on the set of the Jetsons. Enter the Spherical House, a symbol of progress, innovation, and, let's be honest, a healthy dose of architectural audacity. These homes, as the name suggests, were spheres, round abodes that promised to revolutionize the way we lived. Proponents touted their aerodynamic design, their energy efficiency, and their resistance to extreme weather conditions. Imagine living in a giant climate-controlled bubble, gazing out at the world from your curved windows, feeling like you were on a permanent vacation in a futuristic space station. But despite the hype, the Spherical House never really caught on. That's a wrap! So there you have it, folks. 7 of the weirdest, wackiest, and most wonderful inventions from the annals of history. From baby cages to radium face masks, from dog umbrellas to spherical houses, we've seen it all. These inventions might seem strange, even ludicrous by today's standards, but they offer a fascinating glimpse into the minds of our forebears. They remind us that innovation doesn't always follow a straight line, that sometimes the path to progress is paved with bizarre contraptions and head-scratching ideas. One thing's for sure, as long as there are problems to solve and imaginations to fire up, the world of invention will never cease to amaze, amuse, and maybe even slightly terrify us. Who knows, maybe these oddities will become an indispensable part of our lives in the future.